Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And for this next part, I actually prepared some flashcards because, Thai people are fascinated with French culture and France. And, there's a lot of stereotypes and cliches. So I think I'm going to run through some of them and ask about your opinions about them, okay?
Okay.
So this first one is, Paris is the city of love, lights, and pickpockets.
So love, yes. I think not like specifically Paris. I think you can meet love everywhere, right? Just like I did. So, but it's very romantic because it's quite beautiful. Like
Right.
you want to take pictures there,
It really is romantic, like a romantic city.
It's romantic in a way that, places look beautiful and you wanna, have a date in a fancy restaurant in Paris with all the,
But I
nice
wonder
locations.
if you live there, does it eventually just like feel normal?
It feels normal, but I think it's not like I'll say the things that strikes me about France, though,
And pickpockets, this is a huge thing. Like Thai people love to talk about in the news whenever a Thai tourist gets like pickpocketed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Thai people, be careful in France, there's pickpockets. Like, is this actually true?
Yeah, it's really true. Actually, sadly, even now, like
Whoa.
even like one of my cousin, he had a Japanese girlfriend, and she came to France to visit him. And she got her bag stolen like one day before she flew back to Japan.
Really?
So,
Like just taken off?
just like, put the bag on the table where they were having a drink, and then someone just grab it and
Whoa.
leave. Like so fast like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that actually happens like commonly.
It happens a lot, and even to French people, like not just tourists. Because I also like got my phone stolen a few times.
From pickpockets?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know, you just don't notice, you
Wow.
know. It's like you're standing somewhere and maybe you have the phone in your pocket. Actually, never have your phone in your pocket. Never have anything in your pockets. Like pockets are just pockets. They should stay empty.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you have something in your pocket, then someone will notice and just, try to grab whatever it is.
So those are some tips that French people know, like how to stay away or like protect from.
Yeah, every time I go out, I put all my stuff in the bag, and the bag has a zipper, so I know it's closed, and I hold it, and nobody can touch you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When you're walking around here in Bangkok, do you feel the need to
No,
be as secure?
Not at all. I'm just like whatever. Sometimes I forget my phone there, and I'm like, oh fuck it.
And it's still there.
Yeah, I'm so carefree here.
For sure. Okay, so this next question. French people kiss everyone. So not only do you have French kissing, which is literally named after like French, but also you guys have the tradition of like kissing each other's cheeks, like
To greet,
to greet. Like so does every French person do that to everyone?
So when you say it like that, it sounds weird. It sounds like you're all horny or something. But actually, it's just a way to greet. It's pretty like casual, but you wouldn't do that like to your boss or to people you never met before.
Oh.
So you do it to your family, to your friends, maybe friends of friends. Like let's say you go to a party and then your friend invites this friend that you don't know, and they're like, oh, this is my friend, like, and then you can greet by kissing, like something like that. Yeah.
So it has to be like kind of friends or like mutual friends.
Yeah.
You don't just do that to like a barista or...
No, don't do that, it's weird. Or people will be like, oh, they know each other,
Oh, okay. And it's totally normal for a guy and girl, if they meet for the first time, like mutual friends, to just kiss each other's
whether
cheeks.
you're a girl or a guy, it's fine.
Cool. And this actually comes from a French phrase. I don't know if you can say it in French, but it says French people smoke like firefighters. Do you know what is
comme
the...
des pompiers,
Yeah. So what is the actual sentence in French?
Les Français fument comme des pompiers.
So it means like they smoke like
fumer comme un
firefighters. Do you know where that comes from?
I don't know where it comes from, but it's weird, right?
It's just because like a lot of smoke?
Yeah, it's just that a lot of French people smoke. Like even in my family, like my dad smokes, the sister of my dad smokes, and then the daughter of the sister of my dad smokes.
Wow, interesting. Okay, so this one I find really interesting. Arriving 15 minutes late is considered polite in France. Is this true?
Polite, I don't know. I think I'm happy when my friends are not late. It's just like common sense.
Okay, but where do you think this comes from?
I think it's maybe because people usually are either on time or late. So if you come early, you will be considered more like highly, like, oh, it's someone who, shows up early. So they're very like good person, well educated,
Really?
well behaved, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So is there this idea that like you want to give the host more time to prepare or something like that?
I guess so, but I think, in my opinion, it's not always good to come early, right? Because maybe you might interrupting or you might cause more trouble by showing
Right.
up when it's not the right time.
Uh-huh.
So for me, it's like I kind of disagree with this sentence because I prefer the people to come at the exact time when I ask them to come. You know, not before and not after.
So you said like Thai people are quite lax when it comes to time, and compared to French people, are French people generally more like strict about their time than in Thailand?
I think French people are definitely more strict, yeah. Because in Thailand, it's like, it doesn't matter, you come 30 minutes or 1 hour
Right.
late, nobody say anything, nobody complains, like, it's fine, like,
For sure. It's because people understand here like the problems with transportation, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
how hard
of
it can be.
course.
Yeah.
I think because we don't have these issues in France, there's not so much traffic, then we expect people to be on time. You know? But then we have public transport issues, a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is public transport like in France compared to like say in Bangkok? Bangkok is really good, right?
Bangkok is great, like it's so modern. So in France it's not bad as well, but I would say in Paris, the transports feel a bit outdated because there is there are those issues in Paris where they cannot really change their infrastructures because they want to keep the old buildings, you know, like the heritage, right? So they cannot touch some things. So they cannot do a lot of modifications to the public transport system. So some people complain that, for example, there is no way for people who have difficulties to walk.
Oh, like disabilities?
Or disabilities. They cannot access the some stations.
Wow, because they can't modify it?
Because they actually cannot modify it.
Whoa,
it's crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Then that's what makes it unique, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
Paris.
same thing's going on with like New York City. Like they have a really outdated underground railway that's just you know hard to change. And this one is very recent, so I wanted to ask your honest opinion about this. The Olympics Paris 2024 is such a spectacular failure. What do you think about that?
Who said that?
Just
French
like
people?
one of like the forums on Quora or something.
A lot of French people didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. My friends, they kind of had a good like impression of the Olympics, the opening, right? And personally, I feel like this is not the most memorable thing, the opening, because the Olympics were cool, but I think you will more remember like the memes about the participants,
right,
you know,
right.
rather than the opening, because the opening was not bad, but I'd say it was a bit messy maybe. Like there was too much going on, even though the intention was good, I think, and you know, and nice. It was just not depicted in a very, you know, like
very controversial, the opening.
Super controversial, and I like that fact. You know, I like that they wanted to bring some message, you know, to everyone. But it's also funny because what they want to show about France is actually very different from what is actually happening in France, you know. So
like in what aspects?
So I felt like the opening of the Olympics, it was very woke in a good way. Like it was very inclusive, very diverse, and it promoted a good of like positive messages about, you know, being all together and enjoying this worldwide thing that is the Olympics, right?
Right.
But in reality, in France, there's kind of like in politics, it's not going toward this direction much. You know,
they're becoming more conservative.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's a big difference between, you know, what we saw in the Olympics and what is the reality in France.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. But overall, like, are French people like proud to host, or they don't really care?
I'm not so sure because, to be honest, I wasn't there, right? So I couldn't feel the general like enthusiasm or what people really thought about it. I had some friends who, in the beginning, they were complaining because
complaining why?
As French people, you know, they were complaining, saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be impossible to commute. We're always gonna be late for work." And of course, there are some things you have to adapt, right? For example, when you take this way to go to work, and maybe you cannot because of the Olympics. You know, they close the station, so you have to adapt. but still everyone was quite happy, and they were like, oh, it was great, you know, like they were happy that we hosted the Olympics.
For sure. And this one, is it true that the Seine River is dirty?
I mean, if you compare the Seine River and Chao Phraya,
Are they're both about the same?
Chao Phraya is really dirty.
Really? Chao Phraya is worse?
Yeah, no, of course. Because like, I used to live in Paris, and if I was walking across the Seine, I wouldn't smell anything, you know. Then you go to near Chao Phraya, I'm sorry, but the smell is like really strong, you know.
Okay.
So of course, you know, I know it's dirty because they talk about it in the news, right?
Yeah, so they get a bad rep, but it's actually not even as bad as Chao Phraya River.
I don't think it's as bad. It's probably dirty, but not that dirty. You know?
Interesting. Okay. And this one is very funny. It says, Parisians are grumpy by design. Yeah, well, why do Paris and French people get the reputation of complaining a lot? Is it true?
It's true, but I don't really know where it comes from. It's just a lifestyle, you know. It's just how we are. It's like what I was saying about when you have lunch, or you have like a meeting with your friends, sitting in the bar, and you watch the street and you talk by looking at the people, you know, complaining about life, or doing, oh, this guy, look at that, look at that. So this is very French. I don't know. It's not like a bad thing, because people would think, oh, they're very mean or negative, right? But it's more like a way to talk, to make conversation. You know, it's like you talk to your friend. Oh, how was it today? Oh, yeah, I don't like my job. Like, it sucks. Like, oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, my boss did that. Yeah, yeah. It's a way to bond with people, you know?
Interesting. Kind of like trauma bonding.
Yeah, but it's not so dramatic.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
still light.
Like surface.
Yeah.
I see. So French people aren't actually mean. It's just the way that they communicate and like bond with each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
For sure. And for this next one, you mentioned this a little bit, but this is a stereotype that French people never work. They're always on vacation or on strike.
Actually, it's true, but you have to see it in a different way. Like, people, they actually don't really need to work that much because there's paid leaves and paid sick days, right?
Whoa.
So it means like, if you don't feel so good, you can just say to your company, oh, I don't feel great, and then you're gonna get paid anyways. You know? So why would you go to work every day when you can be like that?
So a lot of people are like that.
I think some people definitely abuse the system, you know, and pretend that they're sick when they're not, just because they're tired and they want to rest, you know.
Right, because they have like good like worker rights and things like that.
The rights are great. They're amazing. Yeah.
And talking about going on strike, like this does happen a lot in France, and it's always in the news. Like, have you yourself ever participated in one of these?
It does happen a lot. This is for sure very French. Like, I wonder if we were the first country ever to do that, you know, in history.
Yeah. Even like the word like coup and stuff, it's like French.
Yeah, coup d'etat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did join a strike one day for my university, because at the time they were like doing, how to say, like blocking of the university, and you just couldn't, you know, attend the classes. So there was nothing to do except join the strike with other people, you know. So I stay at home, or I, you know, join my friends and we walk on the streets. But it was very peaceful, you know. But then I think the protests are okay in a way that most of the time when you do a strike, it kind of works. Like the government hears you, or whoever you're targeting, right?
Right.
And it's, as long as it's peaceful, it's okay. But what I don't really like is when the strikes, they get a bit out of hand, and then there's some either violence or like robberies, stuff like that, and everybody breaks everything. Like, this is a bit too much, you know. It's like, it's not good, I think.
Right. But when they're peaceful, they're actually quite effective?
I think they are quite effective because it just spreads all over the media and TV. Everybody talks about it, you know, and it shows like that, like, there's so many people like uniting for that, and I think it's very powerful.
That's really cool. And this one is interesting too. It says the French live for long leisurely meals. Like, is this actually true? That, because I know if you go to a nice French restaurant, you have like 10 course. Like everything, hors d'oeuvres, appetizer, and like a small spoon, everything, like that's all like French etiquette. So that's like a big part of French culture, right? Yeah,
so there's definitely the etiquette in, you know, the like there's the entry, and then the plat principal, or like the main course. and then we will have bread also with the main course, and then you have the dessert, and then the coffee. So it's like so many steps.
So do French people actually like try to follow that every meal they have or something?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Like really, it's really serious. I think it's also healthy in a way because you kind of start with the entree, like the starter, which is usually like a salad, something like that, or soup. It's very healthy, and then you go on with the main meal, which is more like fulfills you more. So you know. But then you go slowly, little by little. I think the part that I don't really like is the dessert because I feel like you don't have to eat dessert at every meal, you know.
But French people feel like they have to?
But in France, it's kind of normal.
Whoa.
So it's like, you know, back then when I started modeling and I was a bit like conscious about my weight, like, right? I would go back to France and then they would give me like the first and then second and third and dessert. And I was like, oh my God, it's too much. In Asia, I just eat rice and protein and that's it, you know. I don't eat the yogurt after my meal and then the fruits and then that.
Whoa. Yeah, that's actually so interesting. And do you guys like to like eat for a long time and like talk, or is this like a thing that people like to spend time doing?
I think the food is like a family thing. So on every Sunday, for example, we would eat as a family with my parents and my sibling, and sometimes we even invite other family over, you know. So I think when you eat with the family or close friends, it's very important to make it last long. But it's not, of course, like this every day, you know, because when you have to work, for example, and you know, you have to go back to work after your break, then you don't have so much time to eat, right? So you just eat like normally.
So as a French person, like living here in Bangkok, like what do you think about the Thai food? Have you adjusted? Do you miss eating back like a French person?
Actually, I cannot eat spicy.
Really?
So I tried. And I was eating up to like one pepper in the meal.
Whoa, that's
so
good.
I was not bad, but then I actually never really handled it, you know. Like I was always having cramps or like I was getting so hot by eating spicy food. I was like, what? I tried, but I cannot. So I love Thai food, but this I cannot handle, you know. But I love a lot of dishes in Thailand. I think Thai food is so good, and it's so, how to say, it's more interesting than French food in a way because you put so many like ingredients, so many flavors, like. And it's very, very like elaborated.
Right. I feel like French food is about like the texture and stuff, right?
French food is amazing, but it's way more simple, I think.
And do you ever miss it? And do you have any good like French places that you can eat here?
I love like Cagette. Do you know Cagette? Is like a very nice French restaurant. And then previously I went to Maison Bleue, but sadly it has closed already.
Oh, it just closed?
It was a very nice restaurant. Like
what do you recommend in Bangkok as like an authentic like French restaurant?
Yeah, I think Cagette is great.
It's good?
Cagette, yeah. They're very good French food. Yeah.
So like the people that go there are like French people, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Cool. And this one, is it actually true that the French hate speaking English in France?
If you're in France, you don't speak English because you're in France, right? So it's like common sense, kind of, for French people that where you go in a country, if the language of this country, you know, you know how to speak it, then you speak it.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe they're a bit harsh with foreigners who cannot speak French because they would be complaining that, oh, they're in France and why they cannot speak French. You know?
Oh,
like,
interesting.
It's a bit like, for me, it sounds not great. It gives a bad image on French people, you know, that we are like, that we have high expectations of foreigners. But then when it's us going to foreign countries and we don't know how to speak English, you know, nobody tells us, oh, why you don't speak English, you know, like, come on, like, are you an idiot?
No, I understand. I mean, it's kind of similar thing like in Japan. Like they expect you to speak Japanese too.
Yeah, actually they don't speak English most of the time, right?
And here in Thailand, it's like we don't expect you to speak Thai. Even if you can speak a little bit, it's like wow.
Yeah, it's like, here they cheer you up like you're doing great. But in first you were like,
So it's like a country pride thing. Like if you're French, just speak French, or not even.
I'm not so sure where it comes from. Yeah.
Like in Thailand, it used to be like if you're a Thai person but you speak English, some people might look at you as like trying too hard or something like that. But nowadays, because the culture has become a little bit more international, it's more like normal for like Tinglish, like some Thai and English mixed together. Is there anything like that, like in French?
Not really, actually. I never met people who speak both like in a casual way. Like,
Interesting.
It's either super French or super English. Or then there's Canadians.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The Quebecians.
Yeah.
So, is this actually true that the French eat croissants like every day, basically? Every morning?
Like not every day, but actually, if I could, I would just eat it every day. I don't mind. Yeah.
So, what is up with French people and bread? Like French people just love bread.
Bread is France and France is bread. I don't know what to say. It's like it's what you say. It's the bare minimum you can have in your life as a French person, you know. And if anyone is interested in French culture, they have to start with bread because it's like
right.
it's our thing, you know. It's our baby. It's bread.
And even though you've lived here in Thailand, you've probably had to substitute the bread with rice. But now, if you could only pick like to eat only bread for the rest of your life or only rice for the rest of your life, what would you pick?
It's hard because I like both.
Really, you like rice too?
There are days when I'm like, oh, I want rice, so like rice bowl or something, fried rice. And there are days when I'm like, I want a sandwich. Like I cannot choose. I want everything. I cannot choose.
Do you guys eat a lot of rice in France?
We do eat quite a lot of rice, not as much as here for sure. But I've been like. Growing up, I was eating rice. My mom would cook some dishes with rice, like rice and fish, rice and chicken, things like that.
But people just eat bread with everything, and there's like all kinds of different
like,
types of bread, right?
Bread is always on the table, you know, always. And then when you go to a party or you're invited to have lunch with your friends, they're like, did you bring the bread? Like, who bought the bread? So, is there bread? If there's no bread, then it's fucked, you know?
What do you eat it with? Just like olive oil?
No, not at all.
None at all?
Like, you can use it, either you can use it to eat your meal. So it's like, instead of having a fork and a spoon, you have the bread and the fork.
Oh,
and
really?
then you eat with that. Yeah, or like when you have sauce and then you dip with the sauce and stuff. Or you eat with cheese. We usually eat always bread and cheese, never cheese alone. Like
charcuterie boards. Is that actually like a big thing in French?
It is.
People just like to make it all the time?
This is like a staple, like when you start eating, is the starter, you know? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for helping me clear some of these questions and cliches.
Welcome.